As a kid, were you taught to apologize and own up after you made a mistake? I know I was. Now, my speech today is about cancel culture. Before I get into the topic, here's how I define cancel culture. Cancel culture, also known as call-out culture, is when individuals remove their support of individuals or organizations, often through social media, because of their objectionable, offensive words or actions. Cancel culture is all about making the powerful individuals accountable for their actions. Just like we were taught when we were young. Although cancel culture quickly promotes mob mentality, it's more beneficial than harmful because it provides a voice to the otherwise marginalized groups. It promotes accountability and social change. Now, why do we even need cancel culture? According to the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network in 2021, out of every 1,000 sexual assaults, 995 perpetrators will walk free. Our justice system is flawed. While we can't single-handedly restructure our entire justice system, we can hold individuals accountable through cancel culture. Cancel culture is a vital tool in achieving social justice. It calls out frequently those in power, for sexism, sexual assault, homophobia, bullying, etc. The lack of accountability is the problem, and the people in power are frequently left with no repercussions for their actions. In 2020, The Odyssey put it this way: celebrities should be called out for what they do and say since they aren't perfect. Their fan bases and influence should convince them to watch their actions and words a little bit more in public. I completely agree. Celebrities are public figures and have influential power on society, so they deserve to own up to their mistakes and face criticism for their offensive words and actions. The purpose of cancel culture makes people who unfairly use their power think twice before acting. According to the U.S. Office of Justice Programs study in 2016, police officers are arrested 1,100 times a year, or about 3 officers charged every day. Yet according to the Cato Institute's National Police Misconduct Report Project, roughly 1 in 4.7 officers will be implicated in an act of misconduct during the course of their career. Police officers are not charged nearly as often as they commit crimes. Cancel culture is an important force of change as it has driven the Black Lives Matter movement, and the use of cancel culture against cops who unfairly murdered Black people and faced no consequences is huge. This let the survivors not die in vain. Many people sent out the names of the cops, most notably Derek Chauvin, who murdered George Floyd over a suspected counterfeit bill. Angered citizens who otherwise would have not had a voice flocked to social media in outrage. This quickly spread and inspired thousands around the world to protest police brutality, as it was a catalyst for demanding action and social change. According to the peer-reviewed journal Discourse, Context, and Media in 2020, the impact of hashtags such as MeToo and Black Lives Matter are typically listed as examples of how this process can bring injustices into a wider public view, creating pressure to make perpetrators accountable and even lead to challenges of power relations. If George Floyd was your brother, your friend, your father, or if you even watched the video, you would know how devastating that was. To watch a murder and see Chauvin receive no repercussions. You would want the world to know and share the frustration you felt with a cop who used his power to get away with murder. That's what social media does. It allows people to share their stories of frustration and anger in an unjust world. The only way to bring down the powerful who get away with sexual assault, rape, and murder is to let the world know and hear out the victims or witnesses. Cancel culture applies societal pressure that spreads easily with the use of social media to a perpetrator who is offensive. Social media boosts the speed, scope, and impact of a call-out and the influence that this has on the traditional basis of free speech. Outrage would otherwise be confined within geographic boundaries, as word of mouth can only stretch so far. But with the click of a video of a man begging to breathe while an agitated cop denies his basic right of life and presses his knee to his throat, outrages a nation and a world. According to Vox in 2019, Americans have changed how they now think about power. One of the biggest effects of the Me Too movement has been to show Americans and people around the world how widespread sexual harassment, assault, and misconduct really are. As more and more survivors spoke out, they learned they were not alone. Not only does cancel culture demand accountability, it also promotes awareness of issues impacting the marginalized communities of women, Black Americans, and people of color in general. Critics of cancel culture argue it promotes a mob mentality. However, a mob mentality only develops when individuals react in a dramatic way. This is not representative of the true nature of cancel culture. The problem cancel culture seeks to solve is to hold powerful individuals accountable and promote change from their mistakes. In order to do this, we must responsibly cancel. So first, we must acknowledge cancel culture should be done on an individual basis. This means you should do your own research on the history of an individual or organization before canceling them. Is this a repeated offense or an honest mistake? Have they learned from their mistakes, or do they continue to be problematic? In order to promote change and expressing your beliefs, intentionally use your wallet. One of the best ways to do this is to not support their products. Your wallet speaks much louder than a tweet tends to. Second, we need to get rid of the stigma around cancel culture. A lot of people have different perceptions of cancel culture. To me, its origins are a much more compassionate approach. By compassionate approach, I mean we need to encourage real change whilst we hold accountability rather than simply denying them the right for future growth because of past mistakes. More change will happen as these public figures educate themselves on their mistakes. If you had a conflict with a family member or friend, you usually try to resolve it through conversation. That's what compassionate cancel culture is about. Now, at the same time, maybe you are conversing with your family member or friend and the same conflicts tend to arise. Maybe then it's best if you cut the relationship off. I recommend doing the same to public figures. If they continue to not learn, then you may decide it's best to not support them as a creator, as an artist, etc. If we do not continue holding celebrities accountable for actions that are deemed cancelable, then what does that say about the equality for the rich versus the poor? If an average blue-collar worker was caught saying the N-word in front of a customer or to an employee, they would get fired. It's a celebrity's job to be in the public eye. That's why they're public figures. So if they do something problematic, they need to be held to the same standard as average citizens. Additionally, if we don't hold them accountable, they will continue to do those same actions over and over again because they've gotten away with it in the past. This does not include threatening celebrities, but it does include making them learn from their mistakes as they influence the public and their followers and need to watch their words a little bit more carefully. With this compassionate method in place, celebrities will own up to their mistakes, learn, and move forward. As content creators have so much potential to influence their audience, if they say something racist, homophobic, or hurtful to minority groups, their supporters deserve to turn their backs and wallets away from them. By collectively taking action against the offensive individuals, it allows those who were wronged to have an avenue for justice that would otherwise be powerless to enact change. Ultimately, the demands from cancel culture are not punishment, but rather a forced recognition. Will the celebrities respond by apologizing and grow from this mistake, or will they ignore their mistake and continue to be destructive and understanding of a platform? Cancel with compassion and use your voice to stand up for the voiceless and speak with your wallet. Choose who you support and who you don't based on if they grow from their past mistakes or if they're a repeat offender. To conclude, embrace cancel culture, but make sure you remember those in the public eye are humans too and deserve another chance at accountability. Thank you.